All right, we are live. Greetings, fellow traders. Let me get this tweeted out for everybody here so everybody can join in. Do 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 do. Get a few in here from Shirley. 1 second. Da 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 da. Do 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 do. All right. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good. Well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today. So today we're going to continue our discussion on day trading with Fibonacci, and we're going to be talking about price clusters. So that should be fun. So before we get started today, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. All right. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's check and see where we're at with the market. So SPX monthly chart. Recent all-time highs, still bullish on the monthly chart. Weekly chart, a little bit of an inside week so far, kind of a doji, narrow range, but we've only had one day so far this week, so it's Tuesday. So after a long weekend, so everybody had a great weekend. So kind of a doji day, a little bit of a southern doji. S&P futures are, let's take a look. Dun 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 dun. So S&P futures, up 9 points right now. That's pretty good. So so a big pop in the futures here this evening. Looks like they've shaken off the Wuhan coronavirus stuff, which brought the market down yesterday and then gave us a little bit of a move today. So let's take a look at the SPX and see what happened today. So on the 15-minute chart, we can see we did have some chop, but we did have a nice move today. Right, we stayed within the 15 orb today with some upper shadows. We got really tight here within this range. You can see the real bodies just kind of engulfed these areas, and then we boom, popped out of the 15 orb range, and then gave a shot right at the closing gap right here. So we faded the gap today, and once it did that, it gave you an upper shadow, right, and then flushed, right, basically saying that hey, there was a virus case in the U.S. and that kind of came down here at the end of the day. These are the levels that we provide to our members. So you can see here we all get these before the open. So we can see, we stayed within the prior day's range, pretty well. We got to the S1 level, and here's a strong candle here on the 5 that brought us to the daily pivot level, right? And then worked its way up to the prior day's highs, fading the gap. And then you can see here, strong candle off of those levels, right? And then boom to the downside on that one. We bounced off of the prior day's lows, back up to the daily pivot level, and then back down. So, pretty much the price action today. So some strength here after hours. So we'll see if that gets any continuation into tomorrow. And from there, pretty interesting stuff here. One of the things I wanted to point out here today, we had a head and shoulders, right? A sideways head and shoulders today on the market, right? And then we got a big push through those levels, which kind of gave that move to the downside as well. So pretty interesting stuff there. So today again, we are going to be continuing our discussion here on day trading with Fibonacci. We're going to be talking about price clusters. So what are price clusters? So basically we talked about these confluence levels with Fibonacci's, right? Yesterday we reviewed, just to do a quick review, we did the, remember down here you pull up your percents, right? That percent symbol, that gives you your retracement levels, right? We also talked about extensions, right? So an extension was the percent with a little zigzag through it right there. So you have a little bit of an extension here. Okay. And we could actually do an extension right there. Okay, and then we talked about projections, right? So projection moves. So basically, a projection is when you have kind of these wave type moves right around these pivots. One of the things you look for is a another potential move that is equivalent to the move up. So let's say here we had this. This is a projected level right here. So we would duplicate that. So let me duplicate that trend line right there. And then when you have your pullback, you move your extension up, right? So here's kind of your extension level. You can kind of, adjust it where you see fit. And so kind of interesting here. And this actually gives you a price cluster. Okay, so we talked about these clusters a little bit yesterday, but these are really important for pullback levels and and such. So what Carolyn Borden says in her book, right, is that a price cluster is significant when you find 3 clusters that appear in relatively close range to each other, ideally overlapping, right, and can be any combination of a retracement, an extension, or a projection. So it could be 3 retracements, it could be 3 extensions, or it could be 3 projections that all go to the same spot, or it could be 1 of each, or 2 of one and another, right? So the more the merrier, right? So she looks for 3 on those. So interestingly enough, as I did this one here, right? Our first extension, our first retracement gave you the 61.8 right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line on the 61.8 right there. Okay, and the next one I did was an extension, right, from here, right, and back, and that gave an extension here. You had the 127 point, the 127.2 and the 138.2, right? So we could see we had a couple extensions there, right? And then I did a projection, right? I did a a move here, and off of the pullback, I took a little bit of liberty and grabbed this one right here, and that also brought us to this level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these, right? I'm going to remove these Fibonacci's here, okay? And I'm just going to show that cluster. I'm going to remove the projection, and there you go. So based on the retracements, the extension, and the projection, look what we have. We have a price cluster. We have 3 right here. And then look what happened off of those levels right here when it gets real tight right there, right? So we had a nice push up to this level right here, right? We had a green candle with a little upper shadow at the daily pivot, and then we had an inside bearish candle. And look what happened, right? We flushed off of this cluster zone and came all the way back down. So you can see that was significant here, right? And so that is helpful for our day trading. It helps us look for potential reversal points. It helps us look for potential support and resistance levels. And gives us a nice area for us to consider. So we can do this on the daily chart. We could do it on the on any time frame that we like, right? So I wanted to show one more, and I thought this was a pretty interesting one as well. AMT. Okay, this had a really interesting day today. Let's go to the daily chart. So AMT was forming, we talked about this last night, right? It was forming a little bit of a bull flag right here. And look at that, off of this inside day, it got a nice inside day breakout today. So very, very strong, right? You can see here on the 30-minute chart, look at that, it busted out of the cloud right here, got out of that bull flag, and then really gave a nice move up, right? So if you look at AMT, right? So AMT, for instance, it trades, weekly charts. So if we grab today, right? So say anywhere in this breakout, let's say we got the 235s. Right, so if we get the 235s here, okay, and what I'm going to do is just kind of show you on this breakout level right here. If we had the 235s, you had a real nice move up, right? So anywhere here, $1.87 got all the way to $3.60 on the 235 calls today on that bullishness. So you can see that is very, very important, right? So if we go back to this, right, and let's say we missed the first part of the move, okay, but we wanted to maybe get another piece of it later. Right, one of the things we could see, right, is it had a nice pullback right here, and then a bounce again at the end of the day, right? So one of the things we could do is we could kind of go to the chart right here, and I've got all the pre-market levels pulled up, and we could have looked for a price cluster. And so let me go 10 days on this, and let's just kind of go back here and just pretend we didn't see that, and we're like, okay, if this thing pulls back, we'll look for see a potential area where we could find some support. So one of the things we could do is we could do a retracement, just say from these pre-market highs to these lows. Right. Okay, so that's one option right there. Okay, so we see that. Another option that we could do is we could do an extension. Right. So we could do a full extension here, just from this level to this level. Okay, we're starting to see some cluster zones right here. So we got the 61.8, we got the 161.8. I'm going to extend this to the right. Okay, and then we could do another one too. We could do another extension here. And we could go, say like here, and we could extend, from these areas as well. Okay, we can see here we also had another, 61.8 extension. So we could draw a cluster there. All right, extend to the right. Okay, and then if we remove all these Fibonacci's, just to kind of get rid of the kind of the clutter here. Okay, and we have a cluster right here. So let's see where that pullback ended up going to. So we got a pullback there on AMT, a pullback to these areas. Oh, it hits the price cluster right there. Give you an inside candle. Oh, and it started to bounce off of that cluster right there, right? And there you go. It gives you another little extra piece of the move, right, for in the day. So you move from 236 up to 237, and so at the time, if we had those same AMTs, and again, this had occurred like around 12:15ish. Right, so around 12:15ish, we were well, we didn't have a lot of volume here, but you can see here at 12:15 we could have gotten at 230 or 240 and got out again at 340. So a nice 1-point move off that. Not a lot of volume here, not a lot of liquidity in these options at the time, but you can see just on that Fibonacci cluster pullback, with the options, still could have got another nice spike on that one. So this is a cool thing to do if you guys track, essentially one stock during the day or one or two stocks during the day, and you really like to focus on it. This is something that could really enhance, intraday trading. Especially if something's hot that day or something interesting, right? You could always get another move off of it, grab another piece of it, or look for an initial entry, or just kind of be like, okay, well, if it breaks down below this support level, then I'm out. That type of thing too. So anyway, really, really cool tool, and you can do it on any time frame. You see, I just showed it on the 5-minute and the 15. Obviously, you could do it on the daily as well. But it takes a little more time, right? It takes a little more finesse. You got to kind of wait for it and see how they go, but it's good for swinging as well. So good stuff, right? This is building up into, these are good setups to use intraday and also on longer term time frames. So hopefully you guys found that helpful. It's a really cool tool that you could use. And at this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window, and we'll get through as many as we can and try to wrap up as early as possible so we can get a good night's sleep and have another awesome trading day tomorrow. So Shirley sent a few in via email, so let's go through those real quick. Let's take a look at the daily charts and see what we have on the list here. So PSA, this is a nice one. This is one that we've looked at in our group a little bit right here. We had a nice close above, a couple of these levels right here. Didn't really have volume, but it's working its way up nicely here on the daily chart and kind of starting to work its way through the cloud. So one of the things we did notice here, there's a couple scenes of the breakdown, right, as it's kind of working its way up. Right, we have this right here, so it's running into a little bit of resistance here, and then of course up here is your gap resistance. But if we can get above this, it looks like we can get a move up to the 200-day moving average and into the cloud. So I like how it's building strength here, and it is generally bullish until proven otherwise, but it's still dealing with a kind of a massive downturn. But it is out of the downward trend line and kind of working its way up, so that's looking pretty good there. MU is a great one. Really like the strength today. I like the increased volume. I like how it closed at these recent highs. Right, so very, very strong candle right here. Look at that, I've even got some Fibonacci's on here from before, but it looks like here's kind of like your next level up, the 6150-ish area. So this is looking really good on Micron. It's going to be on our radar tomorrow, on our bullish radar for tomorrow. So definitely keep an eye on that one. LDQ. LDQ, I'm not seeing that as a ticker coming up right here, but I may have typed it in wrong. Let's see, LDQ. Yet another one on here, ENB. Let's switch it out with that one. So ENB. Okay, so Enbridge. This is looking pretty good right here. We had a gold cross here on the 50 AMA, SMA. And you can see here we're working bullishly up. So this is definitely bullish until proven otherwise. Very, very strong trend on this one. So nice one there. And let's take a look here. BMY. BMY is an interesting one. These are the kind of the pharma stocks right now with this whole virus thing going on. These could be hot too if one of them could actually come up with a vaccine for this. But this did get a nice breakout move recently and give a pop off of this. Has been very, very strong recently. Right, had a channel breakout, retested the channel, and then a huge move up here. It just was very, very relentless. And then we see that we've had this congestion period right here. Then a nice breakout out of that. This is something that we talked about recently and can still continue its way up. So very, very bullish on BMY. And then finally, KO. Yep, KO is looking really strong here. I believe, when are earnings on KO? Coming up at the end of the month. So yeah, it's a very, very strong move here. I mean, all-time highs on Coke. So looking pretty good right here. We saw this candle right here with increased volume. Very, very strong, got out through here, and then has been a nice move up since then. Again, another nice move here today, but not a lot of volume, but again, still kind of holding this recent trend a little bit tightly, so just be careful with that, but generally bullish until proven otherwise. So looking good. Thomas, good evening. Good to see you. Matthew, thanks for tuning in, man. Michael, what's up, brother? FCell, yeah, let's take a look here. Yes, if fuel cell looking pretty good. The only thing I really wanted to see, we talked about this just the other day, right? So we had this, triangular move, a little bit of a pennant forming right here. So we have earnings coming up tomorrow before the market. So it would have been cool if it closed above this. Generally, this is, very, very bullish, right? Got consolidated right here, started to get pretty active here recently. So keep an eye on it, see what the earnings, come up with. Again, it's sort of a binary event, so we just kind of have to keep an eye on that. SQ. Had a big move, guys, double inside day over the weekend, and then took that double inside day down, right? So now it's just kind of coming down and just kind of playing the strings on this one, as it tests all these different levels. But generally a little bit bearish here today. Not a huge amount of volume, but a pullback from the double inside day. And then work. Work. Okay, so work is kind of in a congestion zone right now, right? So we can see here that we're just kind of chopping around here for the last few days. I do want to see a strong close over all these levels. Again, to kind of do what we were hoping it would do prior, right? So it did start to give some breakout moves here, but didn't get over all these levels. I want to see it over all these guys, and then maybe it could get up to these levels up here. Good stuff. Yeah, Michael, thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate it. Steven, what's going on? Rost. Okay. Yeah, Ross Dorster had a really nice move recently, right? We had this kind of breakout candle right here, which gave a decent little 2-day swing up, doji sandwich up, right, and gave a move to its recent highs. Then we had an inside day, and it's just kind of taking that inside day down, double inside day. It came back inside the range, so it is holding this prior resistance as support. So let's see if it can continue to do that and maintain its recent bullishness. And then Twitter. Let's take a look here. So Twitter's looking pretty good, right? This is it's been interesting. They got a downgrade the other day, but kind of really shrugged that off. We love this candle, right? Nice increased volume. Hoping to get a little bit more strength. So let's see if today's doji turns into anything interesting over the next couple days. I want to see it get out of the cloud, and then maybe it can come up and test that 200-day moving average. Good stuff. Experience and thoughts. Thanks for tuning in, man. Hope you had a great day today. Apple. Let's take a look. Yeah, so Apple, still doing its thing, right? Fresh all-time highs, right? So, here's your highs, here's your trend line, still kind of working that trend line up right now. So it's definitely bullish until proven otherwise. We do have earnings coming up, towards the end of the month, so that should be interesting right here. Kind of narrow range day today. Gave a couple little pop moves today intraday, which was nice, which got you to those all-time highs. Then it kind of came back in with a little bit of a shooting star pattern right here. So if the market does decide it wants to get weak, right, it could pull back a little bit and potentially test the trend line. But right now, if the market's up 10 points right now, Apple is more than likely going to gap up with the market. Okay, awesome. And then Netflix, yeah, so Netflix with earnings tonight. So it was a little bit muted after hours. It's been struggling, right? Netflix has been having some issues up here, right? It's been getting really, really congested, and really it needs earnings to get out of this thing. So let's see what earnings has done so far. Not much, right? It's basically into the gap window and just kind of testing these recent high levels right here. So let's see if that can hold into tomorrow. If it does do that, right, we may be able to, see a little bit of a gap and go into the gap right here. So let's see if it gives us a little action tomorrow. Good stuff. Thomas, yeah, UNH, absolutely. So UNH gave us a good move this morning. For anybody who had Thinkorswim, anybody who could see it this morning, goodness, it kept on zapping in and out and jumping all around the place. But sometimes that's why it does help to focus on just one stock, right? But it gave a pretty good move today, but it finished with an upper shadow. So today at the open, it was a really, really strong move. Got through all the pre-market levels very aggressively. Right, gave a nice move up here from 299 to 302. Right, and then it pulled back and just kind of chopped around into the close. So that that right there gave you that upper shadow today. It's looking good, right? It's at super highs right here. So let's see if it wants any higher, or if it's just kind of working on maybe a reversal pattern or something like that. But right now it seems to be contained, unless it can give a strong candle with more volume to get us up to the next levels. Okay, and BA, thanks for bringing that one up. So BA finally got through its trend box, right? And they gave a big move down today on this news that they won't be able to, get their planes out, or, their maxes won't be ready till mid-June or, mid-year and all that stuff. So it did get below those levels, but it did give a big lower shadow right there. So it shows that it's not really quite ready yet, right? Here's a big, kind of macro view of Boeing right here. So this is kind of your key level, this 292 level, right, for it to try to hold. So if this thing gets some more downgrades and looks really weak tomorrow, after hours, it's down 3 points right now after hours. It could give a push, and we could see some more dumping on this one. We have earnings coming up pretty soon too, in about on the 29th. So let's see what that does. I mean, I can't imagine it's going to be very stellar, but it depends how they spin it, right? But now, keep in mind on Boeing, we've got some big gaps down below, right? We've got some support zones, we've got some gaps below, right? So there's still a lot of levels that could be tested on Boeing, and I wouldn't, it wouldn't surprise me if it worked its way back down here. They really messed up on this 737 MAX, and I think they're handling it in a really poor way. I think the new CEO, as soon as he stepped in, he should have just recalled them all and just scrapped them and moved on and made a commitment to safety, to not only the airlines, but to the entire world, right? And to show that they're on top of it and to prove it. in some way. But right now they're handling it really, really cheesy, and I'm pretty disappointed in their change of leadership. So we'll see what that does. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on these levels right here. Again, if it could get above all these guys, right, we need to clear these guys right here and get back above those moving averages. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. Parakeet, what's going on? Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, you're awesome, man, and I always like your Fibonacci levels too. Yeah, so the price clusters are super duper awesome. Paul, what's going on, man? Thanks for tuning in. Cloud Guy, what's going on? Yeah, thank you. CGC, let's take a look at a couple pot stocks right here. So we've got CGC kind of getting groovy right here. Looks like you see I drew this pennant right here. So let's see if it could actually, break out of this pennant and give us a move up to give us a gap fill eventually here. But a little bit of a pullback today. I was hoping it would get more bullish, but again, it's still kind of congesting right here for a little bit. And then of course we've got Cron. So Cron, same thing. CGC I think is definitely the go-to in this sector. Cron is kind of doing its thing right here as well. But if we do get a bullish close over these levels, right, we may see another push up and try to get up to the 200-day moving average on that. So that could be pretty interesting. Seneca, what's going on? Hope you're doing great. So Amazon. Yeah, so Amazon actually had a day today. So it was getting kind of blah, right? We had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 red days in a row, right? It didn't want to go any farther than that. So number 9, it gave us a green day. And how did it do it? It did it at the end of the day. Look at that. So pretty amazing stuff, right? It was pretty weak day today, worked its way up, had all these dojis up here. It kind of came down with the rest of the market, and then they came out with registering all these Amazon pharmacy stuff all over Europe, right? So we'll see what the game plan is with that, right? You can see here, like, market chatter, Amazon files trademark application for Amazon pharmacy in Canada, UK, and Australia. So once that news came out this afternoon, right, we just saw, right? So big move back on Amazon today. So let's see if that gets it going again, right? Decent volume, didn't quite beat Friday's volume, and it's got a lot of work to do, but it's at least finally a green candle, and we're back over this trend line. So let's see if we can get over these levels here and maybe get this thing going again. It's got earnings coming up pretty soon too. Joseph, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Nvidia, absolutely. So Nvidia didn't really participate with the rest of the semis today. We saw MU a little bit earlier. This one just kind of gave us a doji today. It did have some interesting moves intraday, but the one thing is that it is still holding trend right here. So as long as it's holding trend, right, it's bullish until proven otherwise, right? So it could continue to work its way up. I'd like to see it, test these ancient levels up here, right? We've got some scenes of the breakdown. We've got some closing gaps, inside day highs, things like that. So we've got some levels that it would like to test if it can continue to hold this trend. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Jay Kozak, what's up? The Vol SPD, yeah, nice little. Okay, so Vol SPD. So let's just kind of see how we finish today. So the Vol SPD, again, you don't see much here, but you do see it was either a day of buying or a day of selling, and today was a day of selling, right? So so they got rid of some stuff today. More volume was flowing into declining stocks, right? Or more volume was flowing into selling, right? So you're down by. So we're seeing a lot of shorting today, or people dumping shares and all that stuff. So we saw that today. So got a little bit bearish here today, but again, S&P futures are, oh my goodness, S&P future guys, you guys are here. We're seeing it up 14 points this evening. Wow, stark difference from yesterday. So all-time highs tonight. We've seen it here, guys. History in the making, right here. So so pretty bullish right here on the S&P futures, up 14 points. We'll see if they just continue to clobber the bears as we go forward. I'd say they get the bears real interested on these down moves, but until when you do this, it's like delivering an uppercut to them every time. It's really quite something. So good stuff there. So we'll see if that gives some continuation into tomorrow. Michael, yeah. So let's see, CRWD. Let's take a look. This one has been really interesting recently too, right? It gave a nice breakout candle right here on huge volume, right? And it's really starting to kind of work its way up. This level right here has been key. We just haven't had a real strong candle over this yet, right? So we're kind of, you can see I draw this pattern, like maybe it'll go up, pull back a little bit, then move. So maybe it's working on a pullback to retest this prior resistance level right here and hold it as support, and then work its way up. So let's keep an eye out for that one. And then IMGN. IMGN, pretty good stuff right here. We had a gap up the other day. This thing is, we'll see. I'm not sure if they do any vaccines or anything like that, but it could, that type of sector could be, action in that sector could be bullish for it. Again, it's coming back down. It might not want to test these levels right here. We do have a recent high. This did break these highs right here. We have a higher low. So we have a higher high, higher low. Let's see if we get another higher high. Another higher low might pull back to the cloud and then give another bounce on that one. So looking good. JMOS, what's going on? I got you. Yeah. Boeing. Yeah, absolutely. It is something else, right? So I mean, it's just every chance to get. I mean, today. I mean, look at the price action today. It was just nuts, right? Just like chop, 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 inside candle, and then blah, all over the place. So, but it did give a nice bounce, right? It hit one of our key levels intraday today, and then to give a bounce off of that. So it did give a move from those lows, 306 to 311. You really can't complain either way. So nice, nice move both ways on Boeing. But yeah, generally overall pretty weak. Tracy, thanks for tuning in. Beyond. Yeah, so Beyond has been pretty much beyond belief, right? So it's another huge day for Beyond with big volume. And just look at all the volume that's been coming in this, guys. This is such a classic move right here, right? Like through these levels, right? What we saw is a big trading range, right? Congestion zones, times 2, right? Trading ranges times 2, and then we started to see the volume just really start to pour in here, right? So big volume. Look at all this volume, right? This is showing massive interest. I mean, even more than earnings, right? We're seeing these big moves, right? So I would say some big money starting to plow into this stuff, and it's just as not only are traders liking it, but I think institutions are starting to play along too. We had a double inside day this week, and this was one of the ones that took the double inside day up, and it happened to do it right at the top of the cloud, which gave an extra burst off of that one, right? Retested the gap levels, right? And then coming up back to these ones right here. So let's see if we can come back and retest this recent pivot level right here. And if we can get above that, then we can see this thing continue to go, right? So I mean, it's got room. So it could be pretty interesting right there. Osiris, what's going on, man? Oh, it's okay. Glad that you came back in. Yeah, so tune in anytime, guys. Anybody who's new here, just check in the evenings and bring some chart requests and check out cool topics that we're talking about. So Win, big gap down today, right? So it stunk because it was really working its way up nicely. We had an inside day up, gave a nice little drift up here. I kind of gave a little shot across the bow with this kind of red spinning top right here for a little bit of a concern. We wanted to see a strong close above that with some increasing volume. And today we see a drop down. Why? Well, because these resorts, right? You look at the Macau numbers. You got those, casinos. Lots of those casinos in Macau, and with the would imagine with the virus going on, there might be less travel, less folks going out to the casinos, less public places, things like that. So a lot of these, kind of China names, China public sector type names, places where a lot of people go, got hit today because of that. So we saw that, happen here, and we saw it in a couple other names today. And generally, a lot of Chinese names got hit today too. I think we'll see recovery in ones like, JD, that don't include, right? We saw a big reversal here in JD today, right, by the dip on that one, because it's not really, it doesn't involve like, people contact in that one. Even Baba, would be one I think to keep on the radar here for some bullishness, right? Because it's gapping down, but it doesn't really involve, that type of stuff, right? It's kind of the search engine type thing, that we see there, and then Baidu as well, right? So look for some recovery in a couple of those names, but watch out for the ones that until they can get this virus contained or come up with a vaccine for it or something like that, right? I would kind of stay away from anything of like China public sector type stuff or public activity type stuff. So good. Bose, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. PayPal. Let's take a look here. Yeah, so PayPal with a decent move today. Again, PayPal has just been so tough to day trade and even swing trade. Just swing trade mostly, right? It gave us this little megaphone formation. It broke out of the megaphone, is kind of working its way up, but gosh, it gives some really challenging candles the whole way. It's like, yeah, it's going up, and it's red the whole way up. It's not giving any big momentum moves. So decent candle today, a little bit lower volume. Earnings coming up. Yeah, this is kind of a hands-off one for me these days. PXD. Inside day, right, and then an outside day, right? Failed to break to the upside, failed to break to the downside, kind of closed within the middle of the range right there. But, it's one we could keep an eye on, right? Again, here's kind of your key levels right here to see if we can get above those and see if we can get some volume for it to work its way back up. And then MPC. Yeah, so MPC, we're seeing a little bit of a curling over here of the 50 EMA, or the 50 moving average. It did close today below the 200 MA. Okay, a little bit of a lower shadow, but seeing a lot of weakness here in some of the oil stocks here, right? So we have the inside day here level that it tested, still a couple closing gaps below, even an open gap below down here. So just kind of keep an eye on this one and a lot of the oil sector ones for some weakness. So we'll see. And then, of course, BA. BA is tough, right? So, I mean, anywhere you get buying. So today, obviously, today's low is going to be strong support, right? It's highly defended with some big volume, even more volume than earnings, right? So today's low is kind of the key. If it breaks down today's low, right, then we've got below that 292 is the next level. Is your December lows, right? Once below there, right, then I mean it could be just starting its journey down to 200. So definitely something to keep an eye on. And Bob, what's going on? SQ? Let's take a look. Yeah, double inside day down on this one. It gave a nice move up out of the cloud, right? Tagged a couple key levels right here. Where did it find resistance 2 days ago? Right at the gap. Okay, so it couldn't get into the gap, and it kind of found some resistance right there, so they're definitely trying to push it down. Nasty candle today. Not a lot of volume, but, you know, it's coming into some support too. So right now it's just playing the strings. Let's even get over these levels right here and then start to get into that gap. Good stuff. Wendy, good morning. Hope you're having a great day in Singapore. Alex, what's going on, man? Hope you're doing well. UNG. Let's take a look. So UNG continuing to, again, this is one just, everybody's looking for a reversal on this one, but at this point it's just like, you almost just have to short it every day. It's like, boom, it just keeps on gapping down, right? So it is bearish until proven otherwise, right? There's kind of a little mini bump and run right there, inverted bump and run. So see if we can get above that at some point. Maybe it'll come back and test the macro trend line. So that's something to look at as well. Work, yep. Let's take another look at work here. So work, again, I want to see it close above these levels here to get strong to get up to the next ones. GDX. Nice candle today, right? We had some riskiness and all that, but good volume today. You know, kind of testing these levels. I like it, right? I like you know, it looks strong. You know, but again, watch out with the futures up. It may give a little bit of a pullback. But this candle really meant something today, like it wants to try higher. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. SLV. It's very much dictated by the gold futures and stuff like that too. So SLV, you know, pretty not as strong, right? Couldn't close as strong as GDX. Got a gap below, so kind of something to keep an eye on there as well. And then VIAV. Yep, yeah, so it was kind of getting close to doing what we wanted to do, but just couldn't close above these levels here, right, and work its way up. So again, I would say right here, your next level is that 1611-ish area. See if we can close above that, and then, you know, see if we can get a continued move up. Yeah, Paul, S&P futures on fire, up 15 points. Now, when we're down 15 points, I'm usually like, whatever, right, they'll buy the dip. When we're up 15 points, that's pretty strong. You gotta get some news to bring that down, so that could be pretty interesting. So Wendy, yeah, so NVCR, let's take a look. Okay, so NVCR, pretty interesting stuff here. Upper shadow at this prior pivot level, so just be careful with that, right? We want to see them close above these levels here. Again, I would just wait until we get a strong candle above, you know, those all-time highs and just see if we can get a, you know, a move up off of there. UNH, yep, absolutely. So UNH, again, also at highs. Again, nice close over today's highs could be pretty good for it with some increased volume. And OSTK. Yep. So starting to work its way out of here. I had a real big range bound right here. Nice breakout candle here. And it looks like it's trying. Right? So let's see if we can get a candle over these levels right here, get out of the cloud and make a move up to the 200-day moving average. And then IBM earnings tonight. So this one is a surprise mover, right? So it finally got a little bit of its groove back, right? So it's up to, looks like 144 after hours. That's going to put it way up here. Let me get rid of a couple of these things. So it's up to about 144. I would say over this 144.50, we could see a little bit of a gap and go on IBM. So a nice move on that after hours. Okay, so that's definitely one to keep an eye on the 15 orb tomorrow and look for a potential gap and go on that one. So good stuff. Tracy, yeah, Chewy. Let's take a look. So Chewy, yeah, decent candle right here. Again, you know, really this is kind of like your level that you want to get above at this point. So, you know, let's just see if it can continue to work its way up. Right now it's kind of range bound. So good stuff, Bozy. Yeah, my pleasure. Bob, yeah, something new. LEU. Let's take a look. Yeah, a little bit of an upper shadow here. Yeah, Centrus Energy could be pretty interesting. So a little bit of an inexpensive one, but these are tough ones to day trade with all these kind of levels. But I think if you can get a decent swing on these, right, you know, you could try, you know, something. So there's a couple good levels right here. If it gets over 7, you might be able to see 7.5. Over 7.5, might be able to see 8. Over 8, you know, if it's got some news and all that stuff, it might start to get strong there. So good stuff. All right, guys. Well, good stuff. Oh, I appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. Thank you, everyone, for your support. If you're new here, definitely click subscribe on YouTube. And everybody, if you can, you know, click the like button. We always appreciate that. And also check out the links in the description. Great discussion this week on Fibonacci's. I hope everybody enjoyed the price clusters. And looking forward to tomorrow is where I think we'll be talking about symmetries. So everybody have a great evening. And thank you again, everybody, for your support. Bose, TGT, yeah, very bearish. Right, we did a video on that in the group too, just showing that, hey, just keep an eye on Target as a potential bearish stock right here. Increased volume, broke down below the cut, and have that open gap down there, so keep an eye on that as well. And then Roku, Michael, yeah, so good move right there. The only thing that's coming into like some monthly resistance levels, I really want to see this thing over the 50-day moving average in the cloud for a possible move up for a gap fill. So good stuff there. But yeah, guys, I hope everybody has a great evening. Get a good night rest, and then hope we have everybody has an awesome trading day tomorrow. And we'll see you guys. Then. So have a great night, and thank you again, everybody, for your support. And remember, your risk first, and stay safe so you can stay in the game. And I'll talk to you guys soon.